episode of Beautifully You. Today I have. Do you want to introduce yourself, or do you want me to introduce you?
Okay. My name is Blaine. I am Lainey's boyfriend.
So today, like I talked about in the last episode, we're going to be discussing relationships, but most importantly, keeping God centered in a Christian relationship. So I want to go ahead and start off with the importance of prayer. So if you're not, we both kind of started on the situation where we were like, we don't pray often because we don't know what to pray about, but we kind of ended up at a point where we were like, we just start talking to God. Yes, he knows everything, but as a couple, if we want to be centered in God, we need to talk to him together.
That's right, because God is the most important part of our lives.
Yeah.
And if you don't have God, you don't have anything.
Exactly, especially in a relationship.
If you don't have God in a relationship, you're kind of left on your own.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really work that way.
Right.
We found that.
Yeah, because we met. I'm graduating high school this year, but we met in high school. We're freshmen and sophomore. And we were, we just saw each other at school. That was it. And then we got to the age where we could finally see each other outside of school and drive and do all the fun things. But we started to realize, okay, we really like each other. So God needs to become a center to make sure this is what we want. Because for our future, you need to make sure that as a couple, we can depend on God together for everything. For teaching future kids things, for teaching each other things. We've been together for almost 3 years, and we've already gone through so much that was like, we either trust God or this ain't gonna work. So the verse that we're going to be talking about or basing this episode off of is Ephesians 4. Do you want to read that?
Yeah. Ephesians 4. There's only one body and one spirit, just as you were called to the one hope that brings to your call.
Okay, and read I guess 2 was highlighted.
2 was highlighted.
And 3.
2 and 3. With all humanity and gentleness. With all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace.
So we've found that you did good. It's fine. I told you the wrong verse. That was all my fault. We've found that there was a big importance in prayer and having those conversations if we want to keep that peace. He ended up, or I'll let you tell your little story about how long you've been here and
okay, so I have been at Piedmont Road for 2 years now.
Yeah.
I was baptized 2 years ago, and I've been coming here pretty much ever since. So me and her both attend here. We've been attending here for forever. And so I didn't actually become a member of this church until like a few weeks ago. And so everybody's like, wait, you're not a member here? Like, we see you every Sunday. What do you mean? And I'm going to go ahead and brag on all the ladies here. I got sent quite a few cards thanking me for becoming a member, and it's just the sweetest thing, all the old ladies here. So
kind. Cool. We're surrounded by such a great family, and that's another thing that church family, and that's another thing that you gotta look for as a couple is people that are gonna build you up in your relationship with God, because that's more important. Because if you can't, we've understood and become this relationship that we know we have to love and trust God before we can love and trust each other. Because if I don't put my trust in God, I can't trust you, and vice versa. What were you gonna say?
If you can't even trust God, the Almighty Father, how do you trust anybody else?
Yeah.
Like, you can't trust your parents. You can't trust your neighbor. If you can't trust God, why are you trusting somebody that's actually possible to sin?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody else. God's not going to do you wrong.
No.
God will never do you wrong.
No. And that's why it's so important to base that relationship that maybe you're just now dating somebody and it's been a long time since your last relationship. Or maybe you've been dating the same person for a long time. And
or it's your first one.
or it's your first one, or maybe you went on a date and it wasn't good, and you're like, oh, maybe it wasn't good because God was like, that's not for you. He is not for you. She is
That's
not
right.
for you.
Because God knows your future. He knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He can also steer it a different direction if he wants to.
Absolutely. If you're not praying for God to take control over your life, you aren't fully trusting him. And that goes back to things that I've mentioned before. In forgiveness, it goes the same in relationships. If I can't forgive you and you can't forgive me for things that we've said out of frustration, how do we expect God to forgive us as a couple when we fall short because we aren't studying as much, as we aren't praying or talking to him as much?
Your relationship is supposed to be godly. Per the Bible, you're supposed to lead a godly relationship. If I'm supposed to trust God and I'm supposed to listen and apologize to God, then I should be listening and apologizing to her.
And that communication is so key. It does not matter how old you are. It does not matter what point in life you're in. When you're dating, communication goes 3 ways. It goes to my brain, it goes to him, but most importantly, it goes to God. And same when he's talking to me. What we are saying to each other, we're saying to God, because we're saying, I'm struggling with this. I need more communication, or I need more honesty about, I don't actually know. When you're talking, you're saying it to you. I'm saying it to you. A big thing for us is communication. We've gotten so much better about it. But whenever I'm saying I need that from you, you're saying, God, please help us communicate, but he's involved. He's always involved. If we don't have God involved in our communication, we pray so much. That, and once we started praying and being vulnerable and honest with him, our communication got so much better, skyrocketed.
It's also important to know if you feel like you can't share anything with your partner, if you're not at least praying to God, you'll never get anywhere.
Yeah.
There's no reason to keep it secret from God because God already knows.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't tell him, how are you going to be able to tell your partner that you have a problem if God doesn't even know that you have a problem?
It's important for those conversations to be had with your boyfriend, your girlfriend,
your husband, your wife.
It doesn't matter. We have a friend who is in a situation where they aren't being communicated with about things that they feel in the church. And I'm not going to name names, but they know who they are. If you're in a relationship like that and they can't talk to you about struggles in the church, I don't think it's going to work. And here's why. If I feel like I'm falling short, or I'm not having, or my relationship with God is kind of fading away, or it's becoming a lesser priority, and if he asks me, well, why do you feel that way? I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. Then that's something that you need to go to prayer about. You need to pray about, why can't I tell who I'm dating about why? Because mainly if you can't tell them, it probably is because I'm doing something in a relationship that I shouldn't be. I'm cheating. I'm talking to other people. I don't like this person really. And if you feel that way, that needs to be a conversation that's had here and there, not just there, and not telling him, oh, I just don't want to talk about it. Communication is key. If you're a Christian and you're dating somebody who's a Christian, or you're a Christian and you're dating somebody who's not a Christian, you're still going to have that struggle if you're trying to convert, or you're just how we are, both in the church. You have to maintain and prioritize telling each other our Christianity or our Christian struggles,
Because if you can't tell your partner your struggle, and then you continue to have that struggle, it'll get worse and worse and worse. And then when it gets to a point where your partner realizes it, now they feel like it's their fault.
Yeah.
Because you weren't telling them. You weren't even telling God.
Because maybe it has nothing to do with you. Maybe it has something to do with me.
Or it can be the same situation that you were just talking about, where it's like, this person who I've been with, it could be a week, a month, a year, 2 years, it doesn't really matter. If they're not willing to share with their partner what's hurting them spiritually, then in that relationship, you're not together.
No.
You're separate because you don't want to share something with them that's bothering you on God's end.
Yeah.
And it's a three-way relationship, but you should both have a straight one-way relationship with God. But if you can't have a two-directional relationship with both of you and God at the same time, then you have a problem. And it's worse off if you can share it with someone else but not your significant other. That's how you know you're doing something wrong if you can't share it with them.
Yeah. When all else fails, God. That's a big quote that has strung through my head. It's a focus all the time. If he's not sitting right here between us, our relationship is failing. Whenever we're having, I wouldn't say we argue, but whenever we have those disagreements, if he's not if he's not right here in our focus, we're never going to get anywhere. We're going to trust him. I'm sure that conversation has even been had with God where it's like, if they're not good for me, take them out of my life. I'm going to be honest. I had that prayer. I was like, if this isn't a relationship that I need, get rid of it. But he's still here and we're so involved. You're going to find consistency when y'all are both strong in the church and thinking about God, but not just thinking about him, living through him, living like him in the way that he intended for you.
Right. Yeah, if you're not living how God intends, then you're not living per the Bible. Exactly. If you're not living like God asks you to live, what are you doing? Why are you even here?
We have a role. Everybody has a role in the church. And as a relationship, we have separate roles in the church. I mean, men have their roles, women have our roles.
That's correct.
And as a couple, for y'all, for whoever's listening to this, if you're in a relationship, the woman has jobs in the church, the men has jobs in the church, whether it's teaching classes, preparing lessons, the men speak, the men do the Lord's Supper, they pray. Whatever you're doing, you have to support each other. It's not just your walk you're maintaining at that point. You're supporting them to make sure that they feel helped out. You have to help each other.
The biggest and probably the most favorite part of the relationship that I have is if you're doing something wrong, they're going to call you out. And women aren't supposed to, women can't preach.
Yeah.
Women can't do Lord's Supper. Women can't do final prayer. But if you're doing something wrong spiritually, that woman gets to call you out in your house and tell you you're doing it wrong.
Well, and vice versa. You get to tell me whatever. Listen, when my attitude,
but I can do it on the pew and get you on the front.
If my attitude is acting up, he gets to tell me, hey. But also the amount of times that we've said, would God want you acting that way? And we say that a lot. It's like, would God like that? No, then don't do it.
That's right.
It's important to keep yourself in check all the time with whoever you're with in the way that God should be.
And it's very hard. And we have some friends that manage to fix their walk by themselves and turn from this direction completely around, honestly, twice over.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking people that we couldn't be around. We couldn't do anything with them because they were not right. They weren't treating people right or doing anything right.
We have to forgive.
And that's a big step the Bible also says that eventually you have to walk away. But if you're not forgiving first, then walking away is not the right step.
Yeah.
And we've learned firsthand that forgiving can lead to much better things than just pushing them away.
But you don't have to forget what they did.
No.
You forgive because God. When all else fails, God. He's got you. He's got us. He's got everything we've ever struggled with, worried about. It doesn't matter. But that doesn't mean you have to let those people back in and let them run all over you. You're not a doormat just because you're a Christian. You need to be supportive of each other and y'all's struggles, because God's going to handle it. Y'all just have to trust him. We have to trust him. And even if you're not in a relationship, you trust God, and that's going to carry you the rest of your way. Forgive so that he can forgive you.
That's right, because if you don't trust God, what are you doing?
All right. That's enough for today's episode. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for supporting my boyfriend. He will be on plenty of other episodes, but we just wanted to, one more episode. Just one. Oh, no, he'll be on more. We just kind of wanted to pop in and talk about Christian relationships and how you have to maintain God. If you're both y'all don't just get to just go to church. You got to live it. You got to be it. You got to go through life holding hands with God and each other. Thank y'all for listening, and I cannot wait to see y'all on the next episode of
Beautifully You.